Here we go, we're back. Your name?
Kim Kingsley.
Kim Kingsley. We're back on the Method Actor Speaks. I'm your host, John Solari. We're talking about acting, but mostly about animals. This is part 2. So we ran out on this, so you'll get it, but we were talking about how people, like chicken bones, raw chicken bones you can give animals, dogs, which I never knew, and just don't give them the cooked ones. And you were talking about how you feed your animals. And let's talk about some of the rescues that you're involved in, and are you affiliated with other groups?
I work with people who just happen to need me at the moment. I'm not affiliated with any one rescue because there's so many. So I work with East Valley Animal Shelter a lot. There's people out there who rescue the cats, and so I do a lot of work with them. And then I work with Coastal German Shepherd Rescue. And then Gepta is a big one that I work with. They do Rottweilers.
There's one thing in the Topanga Canyon, and up there by Nordstrom. Do you know it?
Yeah.
It's right behind Time Warner,
Okay.
where Time Warner is there. I was big animal. I don't know what it was, but you always heard the dogs barking back there.
Oh, that might be. I know there's a totally no-kill shelter somewhere in that area. I don't know.
That must be it. It's right there, right
Okay.
behind the center. I mean, Time Warner, where their facilities are. Because years ago, when this show was on public access, I used to shoot out of there. So,
Okay.
and that's in the animals. Now today, public access, they want you to do it, and then you give it to them. And I figure, why give it to them when I can shoot it and then put it on YouTube
Yes,
and Vimeo,
sure.
and it's always there.
Yes.
Set up for one day. Now, getting back to you're going to be doing the dinner theater. You want to please tell the audience about that again.
Okay, so yeah, we're Suspicions Inc. We'll be doing our show, I think it's October 27th. I have to get the exact date. I'm pretty sure that's it. At Marie Callender's in Valencia. It's dinner theater, so it's murder and a meal. The tickets are going to be $47. That includes your 3-course meal or 4-course meal and the show. And then, of course, there's prizes for whoever guesses the murderer.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. And Maria Callender's has great pies.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, you will get a piece of pie.
They are. That's what they're known for.
Yes.
Right? Maria Callender pies. That's at the dinner theater. That's got to be fun to do.
Yes, it is. Because you have to. It's improv. I mean, we're scripted, but there's a lot of improv. So you have to stay in character and talk to everybody for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and convince them that you're not the murderer. And it's a lot of fun.
That's funny because you were saying, the book here, you see it's called A Challenge to the Actor, Uta Hagen's second book.
Yes.
Now this is the one that Salome Jens, and it says to be the best book on acting. I use it all the time. I had a guest on who came on and she had it in her bag. She carries it around.
Yeah, I like this book. This is a great book.
It's wonderful. The exercises in
Yes.
it. Now you studied with Uta.
I didn't study. I used to sit in on her
The
class, but I
classes,
studied
what
with
was she like?
Stephen. She was great. I loved her.
Can you give us any?
She was the most generous teacher I've ever seen.
When you say generous, what do you mean?
With spirit, and even when somebody wasn't doing well. I mean, I have somebody personal in my life who went to acting class, and they're always being told everything they do is wonderful, and you don't learn from that. So even when she was saying to somebody maybe where they missed the mark, it was never with any kind of, she wasn't putting you down. It was still lifting you up. It was still making you reach, looking at it a different way. I mean, she just was a wonderful spirit, and she passed away before I could study. But I used to sit in our class all the time, just a lot. And
I almost
watch.
studied with her when I was on work release from prison, and they didn't want me to go there because they said it was too commercial. So I wound up at Terry Schreiber's. This was 1976.
Okay.
But I would have studied with her, and I wanted to. Harry Berghoff's HB Studios in New York was famous,
Yes.
and I would have loved to have met her because she is and it's Salome Jens is like that. She lets you know in a nice way what you're doing wrong. And you're right.
Yeah.
As an actor, I don't want to have somebody pat me on the back. I want to know what I didn't work.
Yes, absolutely. And so I need that too. I need somebody to just say, okay, let's hone in there, focus. You know, I direct and I do the same thing. It's like you're leading people. You just lead them to where you know they can go without telling them. Like, I don't like directors that are traffic cops. So you go to the first rehearsal and they say, okay, move here, move there, move here, move there. What is that? That's not directing. That's just traffic cop. As a director, to me, you're bringing out what's in that person. Because we all have stuff in there as actors, and some of us are more reticent to let it go than others. And so it's finding your way and leading them to that without telling them.
Without telling them. Right. And how do you... Now, that's interesting because you're 100% right. Salome used to do that with me when I remember in Actors Studio in New York. They would videotape all the scenes we do on stage. And I would get it and I'd send it back to LA, and Salome would critique my work. And she would tell me, you were nervous there. And I would, I'm not nervous. And then I had to stop and just say, well, you know what, maybe Salome's right. And I'll tell you, the best advice I ever got from an actor in acting was from Shelley Winters.
Oh, yeah, okay.
She told me, sit down, John, you're acting.
I say that to somebody I know. You're acting. It's not acting. It's reacting. It's being present. It's just moment to moment. And I don't like acting.
Yeah, but I was so. And people said, you know, it hurt my feelings, but it was a gift.
Yes.
You have to hear that.
Yes.
And like I said, I've always remind people of it. And anytime I'm going to do something, I remember that. Or I remember what Arthur Penn told me. He directed Bonnie and Clyde and other things. He said, John, break the rules. And I just love that. I love that openness and that permission as an actor to break the rules.
Yes, and it's not like you've never broken the rules before.
You're right there. But it's such a pleasure to be able to go there.
Yes.
And not have to, and not care what the consequences are.
Yes. I've worked with one really great director, and if he sees this, I'm going to tell him, because I've told him this before. He's my favorite director. His name is Britt Herring, and he lives in D.C., and he's a fantastic actor. And he was the best director I ever worked with. He was one of these people who was able to just draw it out of you.
Can you give a for instance?
Well, the character I was doing she had to be really funny, and she'd be really bawdy and big, and I don't know what it was. It was so many years ago. I don't want to say how many years ago, but the way he was able to just bring it out, again, it was knowing how to keep leading you out of it, giving you exercises to do. Never gave me a stage direction. Okay, move here, do that.
Yeah.
Never did that. It was all about the experience. All about the experience that I was having, what I could bring to it. He was just fantastic. So I'll have to tell him I said. But he is. He's in DC, and he does shows all the time. And I hope that I get to go see him soon. But he's a brilliant actor and director.
Yeah, there are some out there, and,
Yes.
and there's a lot that aren't. Especially in LA. I mean, it's everybody and their mother-in-law's got a script or wants to be a director.
Yes.
And the problem is a lot of them don't even know the work.
No.
And you know the work because if you studied at HB, you know the work.
Yes.
Because that's all comes from the group theater and Stanislavski and all that. It's all about. I love her exercises in there, especially the one with the, when you go home and recreate what you did that day.
Yes.
I just love that.
Yes.
Or how do you speak on the telephone to someone?
Yes. Stephen used to do all those things too. We had technique class for a year, and it was recreating. It was all that, and really, and I remember the first time I ever did that, and we weren't allowed to talk. We just had to recreate a day, and we had a partner in the scene, and I was new, and I thought, oh my gosh, my brain won't be quiet, and there's just like thoughts going and going. And he would say, the smarter you are, I mean, he didn't even know this, I didn't say anything, the smarter you are, you're going to find that your brain's just like a million miles a minute. And I thought, oh, phew, good, because I thought there was something wrong with me, that it couldn't just sit there and my brain was quiet. Because, it's a challenge, to stay in the moment, not have your brain go over here, be back in the moment. But that's just like in life, you have to stay in the moment.
Of course.
In this moment. So, but yeah, she had great exercise. He did all her exercises too. I mean, like I said, I sat in her classes. Stephen was like her assistant for a long time. And same with, there's an acting teacher out here whose name escapes me and it'll come to me, Howard Fine.
Howard Fine,
Yeah,
yes.
study with her.
Well known.
Yes. And I actually was going to take classes there sometime soon because I thought he was wonderful and he reminded me of her and the same energy and caring.
Well, you should check out also Salome Jens.
Okay.
She, well, it was Shelley Winters who said, Salome is America's greatest stage actress.
Okay.
And coming from Shelley,
Okay.
you know. And Salome is also one of the artistic directors of Actors Studio out here.
Okay. Okay.
You know? And
Right.
her oh, me too. Too many bats to the head when I was a kid. Lou Antonio, who was a great actor, but also a great television. He's been in movies like Cool Hand Luke and all of that.
Okay.
But he directed so many television shows and stuff. And he runs a session at Actors Studio, and you do your scene, and then he'll give you some. It's almost like he'll direct you. He'll give you, let's try it this way.
Okay.
You might be playing somebody serious, and he'll have you play it as instead of playing it as a gunman, he might have you playing it as a bartender or something, or a clown.
Yes.
I mean, it's just amazing the way he just
Yes.
changed. He's a great director. Love his class on Wednesday. But those are the people that you learn from. And I always told my students when I was teaching, what I'm telling you is not coming from me. It's coming from Shelley Winters and Mark Rydell and Monty Landau, Salome, all the rest of that. The only thing I ever gave that I really enjoyed when my students would do monologues, I would have them pretend they were on a phone. Because it would give them someone to talk to.
Yes.
It was like Luci Pavarotti. If you ever notice, he always had that scarf, you know, the big,
Yes.
in his hand when he would sing, big handkerchief.
Yeah.
And people thought it was for show, but he said, I have something in me, someone I'm singing to.
Okay.
You know?
Yes.
So it was personal.
Yes. I
And
like
we all,
that.
that's what it, yeah, and it was wonderful. And that personal touch, that when we do something, we have to have something personal. Why am I doing it? Why today? What does it mean?
Yes.
And I get all that from Salome. And Barbara Bain just say, make it big, make it choices big.
Yes.
You know? So, I mean, you've heard all this, so it's a,
Yes.
I
It's always
mean-
good. It's always good to be reminded, which is why when I go
yes.
back to class, just because sometimes you need that cheerleader too.
Well, you should try out for the studio there. Auditions once a month. You know, you don't pay for it.
Oh, no?
No.
I didn't know that. I like that.
The
Okay.
studio is all free.
Oh, okay.
They take down the time once a month. You don't pay for it. And they have classes during the week. Sorry
Okay.
about the guy going on there. I should, well, the show is unscripted, so every once in a while you hear that.
You get the noises of the world.
You get the noise, but you didn't know that though.
No.
Yeah, so you might want to look into
I will.
get a scene partner under 5 minutes.
So you have to do a scene. You don't do, like Uda wouldn't let you do a
No
monologue unless it was a true monologue.
Right,
She said
no.
any monologue's actually dialogue.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And
So
especially if
it's
you were older. You can't write it yourself, the scene. It has to
Okay.
be something contemporary
Okay.
in 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
You know.
Okay.
Helen is actually they opened up again now for this, just coming up summer break. It was this Friday. I just got an email. But they do, you would love it and studying there.
Okay.
And they have, during the week, they have, all the classes are free. They have here
Maybe I didn't know. You learn something new every day.
See?
And free's good.
And they have a writer's workshop
That's
where they
good.
only deal with plays.
Okay.
That meets on Monday nights
Okay.
over, it's Fairfax, you know the theater right past, it's the Greenwich Theater, which is west of Melrose,
Okay.
on the east side of the street,
Yeah.
on Fairfax.
Okay.
That's where they have it on Monday nights, and you have all writers, and they do stage readings,
Okay.
but it's only plays, which that's what you said. That'd be a great play. I always recommend people there because They take you on your talent. That's the thing.
So hopefully they think, you know.
Pick something close to you that shows you
Yes,
a
no.
scene. What is your favorite play, or what? If you were going to do a scene that's close to you, what
Pretty
would you
much
do?
anything by John Patrick Shanley.
Ah, yes. Yeah, I can see you doing that.
Love him.
Just saw that.
Love him.
They had the Bronx Boy.
My favorite play by Shanley is Italian-American Reconciliation. I wish I could play Aldo, because he's got the best line of any play ever, which is the last line, always a prince, never a king,
Yes.
and which is, to me, it always surprises me. And he's never the one that gets it, but maybe now it's going to change.
Anthony Quinn's daughter, Valentine. I remember her doing that at Actors Studio.
What, the part of Janice?
Yeah.
That's the part. That's my Janice is me.
Okay.
I am Janice.
So there you go. Get somebody to play
Aldo.
Aldo.
Oh, I actually just thought of somebody. Okay.
Really? I'm serious.
Yeah, I actually just thought
And
of
let me
somebody.
know when you're going to do it, and you just when I'll give you the number of Actors Studio,
Okay.
and just use my name.
Okay.
I don't know. She was 30 years Johnny Carson's private secretary.
Okay.
The stories that woman can tell.
Okay.
You know, on the Tonight Show, she was 30 years his private secretary, and now she runs the studio out here.
Okay.
She's wonderful. What a gift. She is a gift. I'd love to have her on, but she won't do it. She won't give her nobody up.
That's the kind I want. She's not a stoolie.
She's not around. She don't, and I'm amazed, you know, she sits there, and yeah, she's a gift. But really, yeah, that's great. You could go there, and
Okay.
and they have what they call, see, if you pass the first one, audition, you become what they call a finalist.
Okay.
And then you have another, then you gotta wait a year, and you do another scene to become a member.
Okay.
So you see, you gotta twice.
Okay.
But once you get past the first one, the preliminary, you know, it's pretty, then you'll learn a lot.
Then you get to study.
You get to study, get all the benefits,
Got you.
everything that a member has.
Gotcha.
And it's really,
Okay.
it's wonderful. And once you become a member, you know, it's good on your resume, but it's,
Okay.
your peers. You know, it's funny, when Actors Studio, when I'm around Alan Burstyn or whoever they are, what's his name? But Al Pacino and all the rest. I mean, they're my peers. I don't feel intimidated,
Okay.
you know, because we all had to audition
Okay.
same way to get in.
All right.
And so you're equal with everyone there.
Okay. I'll believe you.
Yeah, but it is, and it's a great. Well, Alan and they run it in New York. You know, you'll be moderating with Harvey Keitel, Al Pacino, and Elizabeth Kemp is wonderful. She's another one that gave me good direction. I did a scene in New York, and it was called A Donut Shop. Michael Donnelly wrote it. Great play.
Okay.
And she told me, I didn't see the girl, because it was supposed to be in my head.
Okay.
And it's good, because I didn't see the girl either. You know, she was right. I mean, when I thought about it.
That's what I tell actors, like, if you see it, the audience will see it. If you believe it,
You believe it, the audience
That's
will
all
believe
you gotta do.
That's
You don't
all
have to
re-
indicate, you don't have to emote, you just gotta see it, believe it, that's it.
You see so much indication today with actors.
Oh my gosh. It drives me insane. I
It,
can't
it
stand
is. Well, I don't like to watch American TV because they'll have, we were talking about it earlier, I watch a lot of PBS, and it's where people look like the characters.
Yes.
They don't have a 20-year-old playing a police captain.
Yes.
You know, someone who looks like they belong in high school, how dare they be a captain? You know?
They also don't sort of have a, you know, I sing as well, and I had a singing teacher when I was in my 20s, and she said to me, you have a good voice, but you haven't suffered enough yet. And in my 20s, I was 22, I thought, suffer, that's stupid, why do I need to suffer? And then, you know, fast forward some years, and I'm a much better singer because life is art, life, art, you know, it's all life is messy, art's messy, and when you can bring that stuff into your art, it's much richer. But when you're 22 and you think you know everything, or you really haven't experienced stuff yet, I don't know how much you can really bring. And this is not to say every young actor, but I'm just saying overall, when you meet somebody who has more life experience in a character and they put somebody 25 in it, it just isn't.
I mean, under. Well, there was a time at Actors Studio, Lee didn't want anybody under 25 in Actors Studio to become a member because they didn't have the life experience.
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yes, I just think that's.
Now it's so different. I mean,
if they with The Sopranos, like who could have been Tony Soprano played that angst? James Gandolfini playing that, therapy, and I mean he's this lovable gangster, but he was all the pathos that he brought to the character. I don't know that somebody 25 could have done that.
never happened. But if it would have been on network TV, it would have been somebody under 25. Really.
Yeah.
And Paulie Walnuts, the cat Tony Sirico, who I just did a film with last year. We know the same people in New York. Paulie would have never got cast. Yeah. In the network TV, none of them would have. They would have had been blonde hair or something. And how much is their Q rating, and who would sell in Europe, and will they sell? It's more about the product.
Yeah.
Than it is about the show, the acting.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't even, to be honest, I had a big TV, and 3 years ago I turned off the cable. I didn't have any cable, and then I got rid of the TV, so I only watch stuff on Netflix or on the internet. Like, I don't even know what's on TV because I hate reality TV.
Well, you do. You all miss. I mean, I do watch PBS and I watch BBC.
Yeah, BBC's good.
But sometimes I watch those Doctor Who and this and that.
Yeah.
I love that show, Doctor Who, and I have it there where I can record it, so it continuously. Same thing with Masterpiece Theater. Whatever comes on, it automatically records it.
Yeah.
So I get to watch it, and you watch the acting there. It's so good, and they're all over here working now.
Yes.
All these shows that are being hit, when you see them off camera, they all got this British accent.
Yeah.
They do the work over there. They study.
Yeah, it's different.
Over here, they want to be movie stars.
Well,
not
I think
actors.
in New York people study more, but I think in
yeah.
LA, not so much.
Out here, it's more about being seen.
Yes, totally. Yeah, I do in theater out here. Theater companies I've been with. In New York, if you had, you could be working for free. It doesn't matter, but it's a play going up. There'll be a line down the street just to get an audition for something that you're going to do for free, and it's a play. Here, 10, 15 people show up because they don't want to do theater. They came here to be big movie stars. And the thing is, that's where you tread the boards. That's where you really get your talent from, is working in theater. And so many film actors, I'm sure you know, they've gone and they've never been in theater before. They started in film, and then they go to do something in theater, and they're not very good.
They're a bomb.
Yeah.
And yet, because Broadway will bring them in because they can sell tickets.
Yes.
That too is turned into corporations. It's like the films out here, outside of independence, it's all corporation.
Yes.
It's not run by artists.
No.
Like years ago. And that's the problem today. You're right. I mean, theater, there's so many of them that you heard have gone to Broadway, and all of a sudden it closes, or they give some excuse why they can't do it. They have to be.
Yes. And then, there's plenty of people in film, but a lot of them, they were theater actors first. That's what they did.
The good ones that last.
Yes.
And Al Pacino keeps giving back to the theater. And most of the people from Actor Studio and your Academy Award winners all come from the theater.
Yes.
From Actor Studio in New York years ago. And Worst and all the rest. And they come from that background. And they use it. When you used to come out to LA, they always wanted New York actors. Because they have the training.
Yes.
And that's it. You got the New York background, which is wonderful, wonderful. I didn't know that you. We get surprised on this show. No, really, because to have studied with her was wonderful. That was a gift, and not study with her, but you observed her work.
Yeah, all the time.
And all around, it was all the same type, Bill Hickey and all the rest. All that that philosophy was being taught.
Yes, because I went to I don't know how to say this, but whatever. So I went to Lee Strasberg's studio for one day. He was no longer alive. This is many years later. And I went there one day, and it was awful because you just had a bunch of young people who really didn't know what they were doing, and they're charging a lot of money. But they didn't have the philosophy. Like HB Studio at the time was like $7 a class. So it was about Herbert and Buddha's philosophy of teaching. So everybody had sort of that same, it was all about training the actor, where the other places felt like it was about taking money.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that does happen.
Yeah.
And there's so many people out there teaching acting, whether it's the Strasberg Institute, You know, I mean, they get in there, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. And unfortunately, that's what happens. But there are some actor studio members who do teach there. You know, at the one here in LA, and I know in New York too.
Okay.
So there are. I mean, you will get anything. But you're right. And everybody and their mother-in-law is a teacher out here. I was talking to. I had some adult actresses on, and we were talking about now because the crossover is there for them today. If they would do some training and learn how to act and be ready for that, because I firmly believe they make good actors because they're already willing to go anywhere.
Okay.
I mean, if once you take your clothes off, I mean, where else can you go?
Nowhere. Yeah.
So they're willing to do that. I know actresses out there. You see them on Facebook and they're all in bikinis and this and that, and yet they won't do a nude scene in a film, whether it's called for or not. But yet they want to show all this sex, which shows me that you're really insecure. I have a friend of mine, Andrea Thompson. She's a member of the Actors Studio. She's in real estate now, but she was on NYPD Blue. But she also in the first Wall Street movie. She played the hooker in the car. You ever watch it? Andrea Thompson, brilliant actress. And she, no complaints about getting naked. She says, what's the big deal? There's someone who's secure with their talent. And I appreciate that so much. Actually, she was good to look at too, but...
For you.
Well, but I mean, yeah, beautiful woman. But I'm saying she's willing to go there. And that's why in order to be a success, you got to be willing to fail.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that so much, whether it's in acting or wherever you do, in a relationship or going after animals, whatever you're doing. You have to give it what it should receive.
Absolutely.
And that's your all. You know? That's wonderful. I mean, and this dinner theater, I just love that idea. That it's so rare in LA to hear someone that's doing dinner theater. It's almost like I haven't heard that word since the 50s.
Well, the company I was working with, or I do work with still, when we do Lowry's, they sell out. So people want to go and partake of these events. There's just not enough of them, probably.
I think the biggest one, the last one I remember people were doing was Tony and Tina's wedding.
Yeah, yes.
That
They
was
still have that in Vegas.
I remember back, I was in Cleveland at the time. It was all over the country at the time. It was a big fair.
Yes.
Tony and Tina's wedding. All habits. But that's another one. You'd be great for that.
I actually was cast in that in Vegas.
Were you?
Yeah, but I wound up, what happened with the Vegas shows, because I used to live in Vegas for 7 years, so when you're doing a show in Vegas, the whole thing is they don't want them in the theater too long, because they want them back out gaming. And they also want to try to make things that are, where language isn't as much of a barrier, which is why you have a lot of visual shows there, but for the Tony and Tina's, even though a lot of that's improv, they cut so much of the script. It was actually pretty bad, so I decided not to do it. Because it wasn't like the one in New York. So I got cast in Philadelphia and Tony and Tina's as well when I lived back east. And it was a different script. I mean, they just really chopped it, and it wasn't very good. Not dissing Vegas, love Vegas, but it was just, they just chopped it too much to appease the casino.
Right, yeah.
To have them out on the floor.
And there too, see, it's run by corporations.
Yes.
The old days when it was run by the guys from Cleveland and this and that.
It was way better. People that lived there would say to me, Vegas was so much better when the mob ran it.
Really, yeah. When the mob ran anything, it was always better because you're getting a fair deal. You know what you had to do and not do.
And you also knew you couldn't walk in flip flops and shorts.
Do anything you want.
Yeah.
As long as you were presentable and you didn't cause trouble.
Yeah. You wouldn't have all these kids hanging off street signs, drunk and stuff. And
never had that. That never happened out there.
No.
People enjoyed themselves in Vegas.
Yeah.
They weren't afraid.
Yes.
It's like going into an Italian neighborhood. The safest neighborhoods in this country our Italian neighborhoods.
Yeah, Arthur Avenue, what was
That's how
surrounding
far,
it?
yeah.
It's, what was surrounding it? Horrorville and Arthur Avenue is like, how does this little pocket exist?